Good morning to all. So I just want to jump right in today. This is Sister Liberty, and I'm back here again with another teaching for you. So, our lives as a Christian, it is a journey into eternity. And so, everything that I do, it matters. It matters how I live today, which is going to prepare me for tomorrow. And so, our journey into eternity is almost like we are waiting, or we are pressing into that final day where we will stand before God. It's almost like when you're in high school and you're going through the different grade levels. You're going through freshman year, you're going through sophomore year, you're going through junior year just to make it up until your graduation day. That's the whole preparation of going from grade school to middle school to high school, is to make it to that end, to make it to that graduation day, that day where you are being promoted from a high schooler to now an adult who's going to venture off into their world and make decisions. And so that final day is so important. That final day is critical. It matters what you do between now and up until that day. So we know that high school is really big, but it does come with its challenges. It comes with the peer pressure. It comes with the hard decision making. It comes with the sacrifices. You have different projects. You may have intern. You have to figure out whether or not you want to go to a college or a local college or a university. You have to decide whether or not, when you get to a point, if it's even worth it to continue forward. Because one of the things that's true is that many people may start in your class in freshman year. There may be a number that the class starts off with. So let's say your starting class, your freshman class has a number of 2,000 students or 1,500 students. As your classmates go through high school and they go through life and they go through changes in their body, changes in identity, trying to know who they are, trying to find who they are, different things they may go through at school and at home. You have to know that everyone who starts with you is not going to finish with you. So as you all are going through sophomore year and junior year, you have to understand people are going through their own lives. They're going through their own trials, and each and every person in this student body has to decide. They have to make a decision for themselves to finish, because graduation it's normally the end goal. It's normally the finish line for many of us. And so those who start with you, by the time senior year come, the student body has dropped down to, so if it's at 2,000, let's say it drops down to 1,000. Or if it's at 1,500, let's say it drops down to 500. That's a big drop. That's a big change. That's supposed to show you that everyone who starts is not going to finish. But you have to decide that through the challenges, through the experiences, through the pressures of high school, through the things that you may be going through at home, you as an individual, you have to decide that you will finish. Because that's why you come every day. That's why you show up to school every day, to learn, to get your education, to finish, because you're aware that there's a finish line. You're aware that, hey, no, there's a promotion day. There's a graduating day, a day where I'm given a certificate that says, no, I finished. No, I finished. I went through some things. I went through the process of high school, because one of the things about high school is, as you are journeying through the different classes, sophomore, junior, freshman, as I mentioned, it gets hard. It gets harder. Sometimes, it's more than what you could have anticipated for, but you have to have a willing mind. You have to have a mind that's determined to go, that's determined to finish, because there is a reward at the end. That is the life of the Christian. The Christian has to determine that they will finish, that you will finish, that you have to finish, that there is a end goal. Jesus says in Matthew 7, I believe, to strive, to strive. And Paul tells us that we have to work out our own soul salvation. So although it may seem impossible, it may seem like other believers that you may know, that you may have walked with, that you may go to church with, they may have fallen off, or they may be worldly, or they're just not living up to the expectations of the calling on their lives. And that can discourage you. You as an individual, you have to work out what Paul describes as your own soul salvation. So although we are one body, the individual has to decide for themselves that they must finish, that they must make it to graduation day. Are you going to go through things on this journey? Yes. Yes, it's a beautiful journey, but it's a challenging journey, meaning you're going to go through things along the way, just like in high school. Many people find themselves going through things in high school, and they get almost to the very end and they just drop out. You don't want to be a dropout Christian. You don't want to be a dropout Christian where you're almost there, you're almost to the end, you've come this far, and then just because things get hard, things get a little shaky, things get a little rocky, you just forfeit your eternity. You throw in the towel, you pull out, you pull back, you altogether just go back into the world. You're going to regret your life knowing that you were this close. I mean, that's scary, to stand before God and for him to say, hey, you were this close. You were this close to graduation. You only needed 2 more credits. You only needed 3 more credits. You only needed 1 more credits, and you missed it. You could have done it. Why? Because it's in you to finish. It's in you to make it, and it's in you to go all the way. You have to have that mindset, because you have 2 kind of people that go to school. You have those that are actually there to learn and have the end goal in mind. And then you have those that are there just because their parents make them go. They're normally the ones, or the kind of kids that sit in the back, pass notes, talk, throw paper balls and playing tic-tac-toe and being a disturbance, being a distraction. They may be the ones cracking jokes, and your mama jokes, and cracking on that person's shoes, and that person's supposed to be white shirt that's yellow. Those are the ones that are there with ulterior motives. They're not there necessarily to learn. They're not there with the end goal in mind to finish. That, hey, one day graduation day is going to come. Although it's 600 days away, it's 756 days away, it's 365 days away. Although it's days away, so much can happen in between. And if I don't have the end goal in mind, then I'm already planning to fail. They say if you plan to fail, or if you I forget how to say it, but if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. So you've already decided that you're not going to go. You've already decided that the end goal is not in mind. So if I don't have the end goal in mind, which is graduation day, then I've already planned to fail. I've already decided that this walk of journey is not for me, because you have some people who they just go to church just because. Just like you have kids in school, they go to school just because their parents made them, just because they have to be here. You have people like that in the body. They're here just because sometimes people want to feel good about themselves. They're here because, they feel as though they're in right standing with God, although there's no effort, although there's no momentum, although there's no striving, there's no fight that they're living out, there's no pressing, but they're here. They're here. And Jesus tells us you got to strive. This life, it comes with its challenges, but those that finish, they get the end reward. Those that finish, they can actually walk across the stage in their cap and gown, because, there was a point in time where if you just didn't meet the requirements in high school, you didn't walk. You didn't walk. You didn't get a cap and gown to make you feel good, to make you feel important, to make you feel as though you've accomplished something. You just didn't walk. And then maybe over the last, I don't know, 20 years, they made the changes to where those who did not meet the requirements, they didn't get all their credits, they had a low GPA, they barely showed up to school. They made it to where now they can get a cap and gown and walk across the stage with everyone else, because I think they stopped giving people the actual diplomas. They would give people a rolled up piece of paper. So, you don't know what everybody's getting. You don't know if that person got a certificate of completion. You don't know if that person actually got their diploma. And so they made a lot of changes to where if you just didn't meet the requirements, you can, what they call, you can still walk. You can still walk. But we don't want to pretend like we're going to heaven. We want to know. I don't want to pretend like I met all the requirements and accomplished my life's goals and my life's trials and tribulation. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to fake it, because when I stand before God, God's not going to pretend like I made it. It's not going to be like the principal who's just going to hand you something, shake your hand and take your picture. They do that now. And then at the end, they give you your diploma. I guess some schools, because I don't know. I don't know if that's every school, because I know when I graduated, I had my diploma. I took a picture with my diploma. But I do know that, there were some schools who would give you just a rolled up piece of paper with a ribbon on it, and you take your picture, because, they want to make everyone feel accommodated for. They want to make everyone feel successful. They don't want anyone to feel left out. It does not work that way in the kingdom. If you don't strive to enter in, then you won't make it in. There is no pretending. There is no faking. There isn't no almost made it. You can't just have an almost made it in. You have to know for sure. You have to solidify your salvation. That has to be solid. You have to be fully aware that you're going. You have to know that you're going, and you can't assume. You can't assume. So Jesus says this in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. He says, enter you in at the straight gate. He lets us know that this gate, this journey, this path is straight and it's narrow. He said it's hard for people to stay on this path. Why? Because of life circumstances. Because life gets hard. Because life gets challenging. Because people get tired of fighting. People get tired of pressing. People get tired of trying to stay encouraged and to encourage themselves. And so sometimes it's just easier to just go back. Sometimes it's just easier to drop out of school. It's easier to drop out of high school. You can't be a dropout Christian. You have to fight and strive to enter in. So he says, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereafter. So there are many more people that find themselves on the broad way than the narrow way. There are many more people that seems to drop out of high school than that finish. You have to be one that decides, hey, I'm going to finish in spite of what life throws at you, because you have to know that the devil's going to throw things your way. The devil's going to try to get you to drop out. He's going to make you think that, man, this is just impossible. I can't do it. He's going to make you feel like a failure. He's going to make you feel like you're not an overachiever, like you're not an overcomer, like you're not triumphant. He's going to make you feel like you're weak, you're dumb. You might as well go back. It's already too late. You keep failing. God doesn't love you. All you're going to do is just keep failing, keep falling into sin. You think God wants someone like you as one of his sons? So you as you as an individual, you have to strive. That striving is not just running at a pace or at a particular rate, but that striving is breaking through, breaking beyond all the deceptions, all the lies, all the tactics of the devil. You're breaking beyond. You're breaking through the life fiery trials. You're breaking through your world. You're breaking through the pressures of this life. You're breaking through the temptations. That's what it means to strive. You're breaking through. You're breaking past. You're breaking beyond the things of your world just to make it to the finish line, just to make it to the end goal. That's what that striving is. That's a person who is putting forth maximum effort or who's putting forth effort in general, because everyone who's on this journey, that's on this track, that's running, is going at their own pace. However, you better be moving, and you better be moving forward. You better be moving forward. Just because I show up to the track meet and I'm on the track, if I don't run, if I don't put one leg in front of the other, then I'm not doing anything. If I don't put forth effort, then me showing up to the track meet, me actually getting on the path, getting on the course, it doesn't mean anything unless I put forth effort, unless I move my feet. So Jesus says, many there be which go in thereat. A lot of people find themselves on this broad path because this path seems easier. You know, in high school, you're going to find a lot of people skipping school, and, you know, depending on where you live, at the beach or at the lagoon or at the lake or at the mall or over here. Yeah, and you have to decide that you're not going to be one of those people, because you have to have the mindset that says, no, I showed up for a reason. I showed up in his presence for a purpose and for a reason. I showed up to church for a purpose and for a reason. I worship the Lord for a purpose and for a reason. I'm going. You have to decide that you're going to finish and that you will spend forever with God. No, I am going to graduate because I've already made that up in my mind. So you have to already have that made up in your mind. Like, that has to be in you. You have to be someone who already has it on the inside of them to finish. I'm talking about people who are determined, people who are resilient, people who know how to persevere, people who know how to break through, people who know how to press. I'm talking about those kinds of people who they have the mindset that says, I'm not going to let anything get in my way. You don't know that there's people in school that are going through life changes. People are going through things at home. But although you have those that are going through things at home who still shows up to school and put forth full effort. They're still doing their homework. They're still doing their assignment. They're still asking questions. They're taking notes. They're listening to everything that's coming out of the teacher's mouth, because this person is determined. In spite of what they're going through at home, they can be going through problems with their parents. They could be going through changes in their lives where they're not even stable. They don't have a stable living, yet this person still shows up and puts forth full effort. Why? Because it's in this person to finish. This person has a determined mindset that says nothing or no one is going to get in the way of my progress. As a believer, you have to have that same mindset that says nothing is going to get in the way of my process or my progress. Why? Because I have somewhere to be. I'm going somewhere. I'm ordained to finish. I'm ordained to graduate. I'm ordained for promotion. To transition from this life into eternity, that's promotion. That's promotion. The Word of God talks about in Psalms, I believe 116, that precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of one of his saints. So it pleases God when someone dies in righteousness, when someone dies journeying through this life, beating the odds, fighting through the temptations, fighting through the pressures, fighting through the lies of the devil, and they strive and they break through that ribbon at that finish line. That pleases God. That makes God glad when we strive. That makes God happy when we persevere. That makes God happy when we actually break through the things of this life. And so the man of God, although he's at a disadvantage, he's striving. It's in him to finish. No, graduation day is coming up. You don't want to be that person that's scrambling at the end of senior year, trying to get all of your credits, trying to get all of your assignments turned in, because you played around freshman year. You didn't realize that what you were going to do in freshman year was going to affect your senior year. Yeah, I had a couple friends like that who, when freshman year started off, they played. But as they went through sophomore year and junior year, they began to get more serious and more determined. I had a classmate, because of what they did freshman year, couldn't get into a university senior year because they went all the way back to freshman year. So that tells me that, man, everything I do matters. Everything I do matters. What I do now is gonna affect my future. So she wasn't mindful that playing around freshman year was gonna have anything to do with her senior year, because she started to do better. You don't want to be that person that's scrambling at the end, trying to do what you need to do to make it in, because it may be too late. What if you don't get all of the necessary credits? What if you don't get your footing right? What if you don't break through the things that you need to break through? You can't gamble with that. You can't risk that. You have to have a mindset that says, I'm going and I will finish. That has to be the mindset. Jesus says this in verse 14. He says, because he's letting you know why the broad way is so full, why many people are on that way. He's letting you know. He says this is why, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leads unto life. He says, and few there be that find it. Not a lot of people find themselves on this straight and narrow way. Why? Because it's a journey. It's a fight. Hey, if you want to get on this route, if you want to get on this path, you have to have a winner's mindset. You have to have a determined mindset. You have to have a mindset that says, I'm ordained to finish. I'm destined to go. And so in spite of the odds, in spite of who's not here with me, I have to go. Because let me tell you something, just like in high school, everyone that started with you is not going to be there at the end to finish with you. There are many people who started this walk of faith with us. And let me tell you now, 15 years in, 17 years in, a lot of people have left my side. People who I started with, people who started before me, people who I was running with, people who encouraged me and I encouraged them, who counseled me, who mentored me. They were here on my left and on my right, but now they're not. That can't discourage me. That can't cause me to leave the race too. I have to know that regardless of who's on the side of me or not, I must finish, even if that means I have to run alone. Sometimes you have to go alone. You have to be the one for the one. Even if that means you're the only one standing there on graduation day, you better get that diploma. You better get that I don't want to say certificate of completion, but you better get that plaque with your name on it that says, no, this person put forth effort. This person never gave up. This person never quit. That's what that certificate is supposed to express, that no, this person, they completed. I think that's what mine says. This person has completed the requirements necessary for school. Yeah, I did all the work. I did what it took. I went through things. I overcame things. I fought through things, and I finished. And so because of that, hey, this is your reward. God has treasures for those that overcome. God has rewards for those that overcome. He says that if you endure unto the end, you will be saved and you're going to receive a crown. Paul describes this crown as incorruptible, a crown that will never break. The gems won't fall off. The gold on it won't chip. It won't rust. It won't bend. It won't break. This crown is an eternal crown for an eternal person, a person who has gone through life and they finish. That's why they can be rewarded with the words, well done, my good and faithful servant. This is your reward. Enter into the joy of your Lord, the rest of your Lord. Why? Because you, if I can say, you deserve this. You worked for this. You lived for this. What are you living for? Are you living for the earthly treasures, or are you living for the heavenly treasures, the eternal treasures that will never rust or rot, where thieves can't break in and steal your things and it doesn't break down or expire? It doesn't stop working on you. God doesn't give us things that are temporary. God doesn't give us things that eventually will stop working. The battery died, it won't charge anymore. We're not talking about those kind of gifts. We're talking about eternal gifts for eternal people. That's what we're striving for. We're striving to make it to that day. So we're living now. We're making decisions now. We're agreeing now to finish, because it has to start now. It has to start with a mindset that says, no, I'm going. And I have to hold on to that mindset when I am going through tribulation, when I am going through hardship. I still have to have a mind that says I'm going. Why? Because what I go through, it cannot dictate my eternity. Meaning my eternity can't be based on what I go through, what I see, and how I feel. I have to be someone who's already decided to not live by what I see and how I feel. I have to be someone who has already decided that no matter what I face, no matter who's against me, who's with me, because you're going to face opposition. You're going to face adversity. You're going to face persecution as a Christian. People are not going to like what you're doing. They're not going to be in agreement with what you're saying. And you have to decide, like Nehemiah, that because I'm doing a great work, I can't stop because I'm going somewhere. There's an end goal that has already been put in place, and I have to see that end goal. And so Nehemiah tells the people that he can't come down. Sanballat and Tobiah, that they want to stop him from doing his work. He's on a roll. He's building. The man of God is building. You have to know that the devil's going to send people your way to stop what you're doing, to slow you down, to throw off your footing. And that's what I'm saying, you have to have a winner's mindset. You have to be the kind of person who, you're not a quitter, you're not a loser. You don't just drop out and make excuses and say, God knows me, God knows my heart, God's working on me. You have to have a great work kind of a mindset. I'm doing a great work. Matter of fact, I am the great work. I am the great work. And I have to finish because I have to. Why? Because I have to. I have to. You have people that have that mindset that says, because I have to. It's in me. I must finish. I must go. I got to enter in. Listen, everyone is not going. Jesus tells us that. He says, there are more people on this broad way than are on the straight and narrow way. The broad way, everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody likes sin. They love the world. They love skipping school. They don't want to go to school. You have people who just drop out and they never return. They never go back to school. And life gets harder for them because graduating, getting your diploma, it means more than to you. It's just a piece of paper that, it's worthless. But that determines what kind of jobs you get, who accepts you, because that diploma tells others that this person can start something and finish. That's what that communicates. Okay, this person is reliable. This person has a determination that says, I started and I finished. That's what that diploma is supposed to communicate. That, okay, this person knows how to start something, go through some things, go through some hardships, because again, going through high school, unless you went to a private school, going through high school, it has its challenges. You and I, if you went to high school and you finished, then you know what it was like. You know what it was like. You know the drama, the peer pressure, the bullying, the competition, the envy, the jealousy, the popular kids. Maybe you weren't one of the popular ones, but you wanted to be. You knew what it came with, and you got through it. You got through freshman year, you got through sophomore year, you got through junior year, you got through senior year, and you finish. That says a lot about the kind of person that you are. That has to be the same way in our walk of faith, our journey of faith. We are all on our own journey, and each individual has to decide that they're going to finish, that they're going to make it to the end. I can't worry about who's here and who's not here. I have to make sure that if nobody is at the end finish line, that I am there. If nobody else sticks around, if that person left because it just got too hard, school got hard, relationships got hard, life at home got hard, I have to decide that in spite of, I'm going. That has to be your mindset. That has to be your heart's desire, is to see your maker in the end. Listen, it may get discouraging at time. It may be hard to accept the fact that this person is no longer here. Man, we were supposed to graduate together. We walked in freshman year. We made a pact. We made an agreement that we will always be together. And now she's gone. Now he's gone. Hey, quit yourself like men. Gird up your loins and fight through. Press through. Endure. Finish. That's what Jesus tells us in his word. Finish. He says strive. He says strive. In Luke 14, strive. That's what we're called to do. Strive. I believe that's Luke 14 where he says that. But yeah, strive. Strive to enter in. This is our lives, and we have to love it. We have to love it every day. Every day I have to already have that made up in my mind that I love it. I was trying to look for the other verse from Matthew. Let me see. I don't have a lot of time, so I won't be before you long. I'll just probably have to come back on at a different time and do a part 2. Okay, maybe it's Luke 6. Let me see. No, it's not Luke 6. Yeah, if I can't find it, I'll come back on and we'll talk about it at another time. So, yes, you have to ask yourself, am I on track for graduation day? Am I on track for a promotion? It's not enough to assume. I don't want to assume that I'm graduating if I already know I don't have the requirements. You know that you don't have the requirements. You know that you're behind on credits. So the best thing to do is to realign yourself. The best thing to do is to come into agreement. The best thing to do is to make the necessary adjustments and changes. Hey, if I'm missing credits, if I'm behind, what do I need to do? Because today is the day of salvation. There's still time for me to get it right. There's still time for me to come in alignment. I just have to be willing. I have to be the one who's willing to put forth effort in order to get what I need to make it in. There are things that you need to make it in. You need a pure heart. You need clean hands. You have to be of a meek and lowly spirit. You have to be obedient. You have to run this race with faith. You have to agree with God. And so it's not about just getting baptized and going to church and saying you're saved and you're a Christian. You actually have to put forth works. Faith without works, Paul said, is dead. Faith without works is dead. That means you have to have works to show for it. You have to have fruit that you would have had produced in order to give back to God, to show God, hey, I actually utilize what you gave me. You got to have something to show for it. What do you have to show for it? The fact that you're just saved. Everybody's saved. What makes you different? What makes you set apart? Your life is going to communicate. Your life is going to communicate what you're producing. And if you're producing anything, Jesus says, wherefore by their fruits you will know them. You will know them. And so prayerfully, we can continue this message at a later time. Sister Liberty has to go. So God bless you all in Jesus' name.